All right, so here's a quick overview of my pickup raid fire redneck that we have leveled in the GSF today. Really cool build. We drop a bunch of wagons or trucks. They shoot a bunch of projectiles at everything. It's a very sleeper build, right? Very, very sleeper. You just walk forward, everything dies in front of you, right? I would recommend that you turn your skill opacity down. Kind of helps with the lag. This is a very cooldown focused build. So the more cooldown that you can get, the more you can proc these pickup raid trucks. You want to make sure that you get a good amount of cooldown, just in different gear, right? And there's gonna be a threshold of cooldown to like plus skills and fire damage and stuff that you're gonna have to find a balance between because you don't want to go too heavy on the cooldown because then you won't have any damage in other places. But I think from like while you're leveling up and getting through Hell 1, I think giving more cooldown is probably the best thing that you can do to just have more of them and make the build feel much smoother. This is my gear that we were able to get while we were leveling up. So I did find a +3 mace, so we're wearing that. You could wear a Sky Song instead, right? Or whatever you can find. I did find a +3 helmet with intelligence on it and mana. It's kind of good, right? You could also wear a Scholar. We have just a 15% cooldown recovery amulet. I found a Heaven's Champion. Again, you could wear a Sky Song as a shield or I did make a res shield. There it is, a Divine Contemplation. So this would cap your resistances. I just feel like I have enough right now, so I'm running the Heaven's Champion instead. We did find a Molten Steel Carapace, right? A Carapact, whatever it is. It's +2, some pen, right? All damage reduced by 8%. We threw some rubies in there for more damage. We have a Demon Weaver. It's actually found this in one of the vendors. This gives us another 15% cooldown recovery. So we are at, I believe, 30% total right now. Yeah, 35% cooldown recovery. And that's important for some of the sub skill tree as well. We do have a +1 Licher Sash, right? So just some FCR to get the boys out faster, and we were able to make ghosts from our Act 1 quest in normal. We got a mal out of it. So as soon as I found a 2 socket pair of boots, I made ghosts into where at level. In this case, this is where level 52, but I could have worn them at level 31 if I had found a base sooner. I don't have any relics. I did find a Mighty Sushi. We actually didn't even use it. Right? I haven't had to use it yet, and just a bunch of random charms. So while we're leveling up, I did use the right tree, right? We went Chainsaw Slash. I found this to be the best, right? I can kind of show you what that looks like real quick with my weapon. You end up hitting a little bit of an AoE, and it causes these chainsaws to go underneath enemies, right? You can kind of see them there. I don't have any damage, but those are actually decent for dealing AoE damage while you're leveling up. It does start to fall off once you get into like the end of Act 2, Act 3. I ended up going to 3-3's dungeon. That was the best option for me to just level through. If you're able to buy some items or maybe like a cheap malice, this will make it much easier. Unfortunately, being in the Blood Pact, we weren't able to go to the Demon Slayer to pick up a base to make a free malice on. But if you're able to do that, that will make your 3-3 much, much better. So you're going to blast through that until you're able to get to level 30. And that's when you're finally able to play pickup raid, hard swap out of it to pickup raid. And then here's the sub skill tree that I'm currently using for pickup raid. You can see we just basically went for an increased travel speed. We went for the cooldown reduction here. This is a multiplier cooldown reduction. So this is taking the uh, cooldown of our skill and reducing it by 50%. It's not just 50% cooldown reduction, which is it works a little bit differently. This is very, very important for uptime on the build. We also have additional projectiles. This is what's making our pickup raids shoot so many freaking projectiles. Because every single one of these is getting additional projectiles on it. And then our augment is Freedom Convoy. This gives us 3 additional trucks. Normally, when you're leveling, you're only going to have 1, right? Level 60, you'll have 2. Level 80, you'll have 3. And at level 100, you'll have 4, right? Now, once we're wanting to do single target, all we have to do is use our second loadout. We'll take Suicide Squad. This is going to make the truck move forward, and it'll hit the pack, and it'll do a huge amount of damage. This is the best option that we have for single target. It's also going to shoot out a bunch of tires in all directions. These can shotgun, which can be a lot of damage as well and help clear out some ads. From there, while you're leveling up, just make sure that you put points in synergies. So you can see at the bottom, we have pipe bombs, tire fire, spontaneous combustion. These are all synergies for pickup rates. It'll increase its damage. I recommend that you start with combustion oil. This is going to give you increased fire skill damage. It's a more damage buff. You want to max that out first. Then you'll max out your pipe bombs and tire fire, with your spontaneous combustion being the last skill that you're going to put points into. Then again, while you're leveling up, you are going to put points into intelligence and vitality. I like to go for a 50-50 split rule generally, right? If you feel super strong, like I did while I was leveling up, you could dump some points out of vitality just to go into more intelligence, or maybe you feel like you're dying too easily, you could go a bit more into vitality and have a little bit less in. However you want to work that out. It's very, very early on when you're playing with Chainsaw Slash, you can put a few points into energy just to have enough. But if you find any sources of leech, like 1 mana leech option, it'll pretty much take care of that. Same for health. It'll keep you topped off pretty well. So we're not running any energy currently, but again, I did find this base that's giving us 200 mana. So that does help. And since we're running, a cooldown base skill, we just click one time. And generally, our mana replenish helps take care of our mana problems before we really need to cast again. And we do have a little bit of mana. Any mana on kill? Yeah, I have a little bit of mana on kill here. This will take care of any mana problems that we'll have during our mapping, as well as when we're bossing. Because again, we're not using very much mana. I can look how much it takes me before I ever go down. Right? I'm never going to need to worry about mana on the build, which is fantastic. And that's pretty much it. Right? Anybody have any questions in chat? Anybody have any questions? Mercenary, currently I don't have one. I didn't use one while we leveled, right? But if you want to run a merc, you can. There's not really directly any gear that you'll put on him. Just whatever you can find on the ground, right? What option to turn down the FPS again? Yeah, that's a good one. If this gets a bit too crazy for you guys, go into options under gameplay, right? You'll see this opacity. Turn this to 0. This will make it feel way, way better, right? You can see I'm just chilling at 60 FPS for the most part. Will you make a guide for the gear choices? Yeah, well, as we're playing, this is kind of a diary. We'll continue making more content on it as we gear it up, so people can see that progression as I play. I also recommend, if you have any rednecks in your actual party, that you can turn down their skills as well. It'll help a ton. So, yep, thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next video.